Welcome to Seggs Talk Radio, a podcast that explores sex, kink, and intimacy through candid conversations with sex workers, researchers, and voices shaping the conversations on sexuality. This episode is brought to you by Testy, a sexual health company I founded launching early 2026, which will revolutionize same-day walk-in STI testing. Head to testy.co to get on the waitlist and get a discount on your first panel.
Porn doesn't choose to make those. Porn is a reflection of what everyone is typing in. So everything you see, if you like it or hate it, it's a reflection of society. Because what they do is they look at the most searched terms and the most searched scenarios. And then they go, that'll make money. We're making that. You think some of these directors are artistically very excited to make the third Stuck in the Dryer movie? Like, no. And even us, when we go to set, we're like, here we go again, guys.
Here we go again.
Okay, step bro.
All right,
okay.
sis.
Yeah. And we're all like just laughing about how ridiculous it is. But it's because
it's a great point.
You all want it.
Right. No, I think that's a really important point. Like if you're going to Pornhub and being frustrated that you're saying all this stuff, it's just a reflection of our collective psyche, horny psyche. Aaron, aka Small Hands, welcome to Seggs Talk Radio. Glad to have you here.
Excited.
We're just talking about our mutual sex positive kinky audiences.
We got good fans, you know?
Yes.
We got good fans.
I feel like that's how you know you've like created a strong kind of brand is like your fans kind of have their own collective vibe. Like I feel like my people are kind of like, you would never know how kinky my people are until they like tell me what they were up to this weekend. And I'm like, ooh, like I love that.
So they're kind of low key about it.
Yes.
But behind closed doors.
Yes.
Okay.
But they just have their like own collective, like, I don't know, Seggs Talk Radio energy, which is neat.
We love that. We love that. Yeah. My fans are very direct with how kinky they are. But they're all, I don't want to sound too wholesome, but I feel like most of my fans are all like good-hearted, sweet people.
Totally. Yes. Well, I think it's helpful to kind of break down the notion of like what our previous preconceived notions are around what a kinky person is or what a content creator is or that kind of thing. Yeah.
That can mean almost anything these days.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about how you got started with content creation. I know you've had kind of a unique journey. And
So before, the world changes, before I was a content creator, I was a porn star, and I still am active in mainstream porn.
Okay.
I still film for the companies.
Yeah.
But that was like the word, there was no real, this is pre-OnlyFans, pre-all that stuff.
Yes.
And then as things shifted in popular culture and adult and all that, it's just where you have to be now.
Changed really quick.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like it was quite lucrative, but this would have been like, I don't know, you would know better than me, but like mainstream was quite lucrative.
Oh, yeah. And it still can be in its own way.
But I feel like you have to be really
it's
known.
And it's less there's less people at the top, so to speak, but I think that what content creation has shown is that you don't need that system anymore. You don't have to rely on the studios. You can do it yourself. You can become a millionaire in your bedroom.
That's fucking awesome.
And that's a pretty cool, freeing sort of thing that's even an option now.
Yeah.
So, I have mixed feelings because I'm kind of an old school guy. And
That's okay.
I love the studio gigs.
Yeah.
They're so fun. I love being on a set with a crew. And, if there's a script, like it's cool. You feel like you're making.
Well, and you don't have to necessarily be like the cameraman and the audio.
No,
figure out all this
I'm not
other
editing the thing.
and the marketer.
I just love being talent.
There you go.
So while I do love being a creator now in this
it's a ton of work.
Day and age, it is so much more than the actual whatever sexual things you're doing. Like that's like the smallest part of the job. And the editing, the data management, the organization, the release schedule,
you gotta get people to fucking watch it.
The effort you have to put into, Instagram, TikTok, whatever your way to find your audience is so much more than a boob picture or, a quick sex clip or something. And I don't know. I like being just talented.
No, that's great. I think that like there's such a rise in like this whole kind of like get rich fantasy of OnlyFans and stuff too that's been so blown out of proportion. And
completely.
So I think it's really important to hear various angles, which is like I would prefer to just show up and do the thing. And yeah.
And that's what, I get a lot of people who ask me, how can I get in the biz? Or I've been thinking about it, this and that. And there is a misconception that, okay, just because you decide to do it, that does not equal success, money, fame, that you could fail. You know, like, and that's a tough pill to swallow for some people. And I always say, you know, are you, more importantly than whatever, you know, sexual part you're interested in, are you good at marketing yourself? You know, do you have a thing also? You got to stand out now.
Yes. I think niche is better with that kind of stuff.
Because the gates are now open almost to all of age and consent. The pool is bigger. So you got to.
A lot of people are comfortable filming themselves having sex at this point.
It's crazy, but it's not enough just to be hot and horny anymore.
It
literally, that used to be your pathway. Here's porn, here's adult. And now those things are great, but it's actually more important if you know how to market yourself online and be good on social media and be unique in some way. You know, maybe that's your body type. Maybe that's a cosplay thing you do. Maybe it's just the sense of humor you have, you know, on your social media. But those are the things that like matter in this sort of sense now in terms of success.
When you have to have like these different tiers of marketing, you know what I mean? You have to have like Twitter that's like naughty, but not the full thing. Then you have the OnlyFans and you have Instagram showing the person you collabed with, but not too much. Like it's just, Jesus.
It's exhausting.
Yeah. I had an OnlyFans for literally 6 months and I gave up. I gave up.
It's a lot.
Just because the amount of consistent posting. And there were things where, for me, the anonymity component was hard of not seeing the person. Like I'm really into like one-on-one experiences. And so for me, the anonymity of the person behind the screen was kind of strange. And then asking me to do things that I just wasn't comfortable doing.
It's a unique journey.
That you truly have to be an exhibitionist. And I'm like more of a voyeur. So I'm like, I didn't like to be on display in that way.
So maybe shocking or not, I don't consider myself an exhibitionist at all.
Interesting.
Like, pre-adult industry, I was not that person.
Yeah.
I am though a performer though, and I like being an entertainer. I like entertaining. I like that type of a thing. But you know, when adult industry came along, because I used to play in bands and, you know, I've done a lot of creative things in my life. I was like, well, I like this because it's performing. You know, this other part is also involved, you know, that's very fun and cool. But I don't, like I get still kind of like embarrassed when I have to, for example, make content, like solo content for my fans, which they love.
Right, because that is more exhibitionist.
Because now it's just me. Like,
right.
What I thrive on in adult is the other person, you know?
That's interesting.
And so when I'm just left to myself, I still feel so cringe.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And,
it's very polite of you.
Yeah.
Polite porn star.
It's, you know, I'm like, really?
Like people want to see this?
You'll pay for this? Okay.
Right.
And that even initially my OnlyFans didn't really make much money because I couldn't do it. I wasn't, you know, I was just too embarrassed. And at some point I was just like, this is just what you do. This is just how it is, you know? And
there is like imposter syndrome and weird shit at every step of the way. I swear. Like I felt nervous coming here today because I was just like kind of not in the zone. And it's like, it doesn't matter where you're at or what you're doing or if you've been, you know, filming, doing all of this stuff for a decade. It's like there's still just this shit. We're still just very human, you know?
Yeah. And I think in these spaces, at least in my experience, like knowing other, you know, porn stars and performers, there's like two types and you're one or the other.
Okay. Please
you
share.
You either sort of are a self-loather and have like a low opinion of yourself, but you want to work hard. And that's why it's like, and
or maybe you're getting validation from
or you crave outside validation. And this is all, I'm talking to myself on this one. Or you're like in love with yourself and you think you are the shit. And, and that's cool because I look at those people, I'm like, man, I wish I had that. I wish I had that confidence.
Yeah, but the ego comes through. I mean, it's not going to be everyone's jam though.
Slippery slope. You want to be somewhere ideally in the middle.
Right.
But I also think that's most entertainers, most musicians, most actors. They're like one or the other most of the time, at least in my experience with, you know, my friends and stuff.
Yeah. Where did you grow up?
San Diego, California.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
San Diego's beautiful. I lived in LA for a few years and I'm like, it feels like a good place to retire or like mellow out. I don't know.
I spent 10 years in LA. I did my time.
Okay. Yes.
And, you know, no disrespect to LA. It's cool, but San Diego's like.
Is that where you started mainstream porn, LA, or was it in New York?
Yeah. So basically, I've only lived here in New York for almost 4 years now.
Oh, okay.
The locals would say I'm new. You know?
Yes, same. I'm about a year. Yeah. I'm very new.
So shout out to Brooklyn. So I got into porn through my ex-wife. She owned a production studio.
This was in LA?
Well, she lived in LA and I lived in San Diego for the first couple years of our relationship.
Yeah.
And for the first couple of years of our relationship, I also was like just her boyfriend. I wasn't in the business. But she owned the production studio. It was called Burning Angel. She was, wrote the movies, directed the movies, real powerhouse.
Yeah.
And so I would come to set and help, I'd PA, I'd, just whatever, hang out. And I got to watch how it worked. And
it's a whole fucking operation.
And my first impression was like, good for you. I could never do this. This is no way. Even me being like a performer and stuff, I was like, this is next level.
This is very overwhelming to just have a bunch of people watching you have sex. You said there were more people there than you anticipated,
because
right?
I'm not an exhibitionist really by nature.
Right.
I was like, the thought of fucking in front of
or trying to maintain an erection.
And then, these lights are bright.
Yeah.
Wow, there's, they're fucking on the concrete floor. There's no comfy furniture, whoa, this is crazy. And, it gave me such an immense respect for the performers.
Definitely.
But I initially did not envision myself being one.
You're mostly doing music
I was
at the
doing
time?
music. I was in a band. I was touring.
Yeah.
I was doing stuff. And then it was basically at some point, it's like relationship progresses. We got to move in, 2 years go by and move up to LA. Okay, cool. Move up to LA. And my band at the time had disbanded and I was like, oh, that's fine. I know people in LA. I'll like get in a band in LA. And it just kind of wasn't clicking for a minute. And I was getting a little flustered because I always wanted to like pay my half of the bills and, things like that, just being like a good person. And my wife at the time was like, well, every time on my movies that like male talent comes on set, I have to write him a check and it's a good check. She's like, why don't you try out, like jump in a few for like help out the family biz.
Like full body, like
she was like, neither of us at the time thought this would lead to like a big career for me. She's like, literally, it would just help me out like money-wise, budget-wise.
What are those checks like for like a full day on set usually?
I know it completely varies, greatly, and it's like music and being an actor. It depends on your level of fame. The more big time you are, because you set your own rate.
Okay, so the people set their day rates. So the talent
sets their own rate, and it's usually not. It's more by the scene, the sex scene. So, because there can be 2 sex scenes filmed in one day, and so you know what I mean. So it's it's less about hard hours, and it's more about like and also the sex act, because an anal scene, for example, will pay more than a vaginal scene.
Yeah.
For every guy in a gangbang, the number goes up.
Yes.
So there's a few variables.
There's a lot of variables. Yeah.
But the talent sets those rates.
That makes sense.
Basically, when you're new, you're on the lowest end of that, and when you're not, and when you're big time, it changes. And those numbers vary a lot. So I'll just leave it at that.
Sure, you got it.
And so when I first started doing adult films, it was for my wife's company, either with her or she was directing me with another woman. And it was just, again, to just help out the family.
Definitely.
Biz.
Were you nervous the first time,
Hell
with all
yeah.
the lights, camera, action?
I was so nervous.
For sure.
So nervous.
And like, what if things don't, I don't know. I feel
I had this talk with her. I mean, bless her, she was very confident in me and I was not.
That's great.
I was like, hey, like, what happens if, they call it failing?
No pressure.
Like if a guy can't get his dick hard, which is what 90% of the time happens with newer talent, it weeds the pool out quick.
Yeah.
There's
failing means like we literally can't film
we don't have the scene. They call him the stunt cock,
Right. Well, now if
who
it
can be
ebbs
here in an hour with a clean test, and get it done. Because when you're new, you also are that guy sometimes, and that's how you prove yourself. I was last minute fill-in guy a lot in the early days.
It's a fascinating world.
And so I don't know, as I just did more of it, and total transparency, don't go look at my first few. They're not that great.
Now everyone's going
They're
to,
not
but
that
sure.
great. But they were like good enough.
Yeah. Well, I think people can appreciate someone's, progression.
I've come a long way.
Yeah.
And then as I just did it a little bit more, I got a little more comfortable. And then I started to get fans of me, which I never was like, oh, okay, this is interesting.
Right.
And that's when the other companies started asking to book me. And then it just exploded from there. And I was working for every major studio.
That's awesome.
It was wild. Yeah.
Well, there was a demand for you and your style. And,
I guess, I mean, at the very beginning, it was for the real big companies that, like, I'm very tattooed. They did not like it. They said it was too much.
Oh, interesting.
They didn't, and that's why I was fill-in guy. They're like, well, yeah, Aaron's fine. You know,
but wouldn't there be tattoos in the background
at that point,
of
they
a
didn't
stump
care.
cock? Oh,
they didn't care. You know, it was more like, we just need. Is he available? Cool.
Interesting.
Because I remember the first few movies I did for like Brazzers, you know, the big guys, who then I later got a contract with. You know, it's funny how it works. They really. They liked me, like they thought I was cool, but they were like, it just doesn't work on our site. You know, the look is different, too different. They liked at the time a lot more like kind of like normal, you know, guys or whatever you call it. Mm-hmm. What's
I feel like we're in a good era now of.
Oh yeah, well it's
the
changed,
more unique,
it's changed
the better.
A lot, and basically what I had to do was, first of all, when they did give me a few opportunities, I'm like, all right, make sure you do a real good job today, buddy. Mm-hmm. And then I had to grow my fan base, and then eventually, you know, I won a few awards, and I had a.
What were the awards?
I won.
Well, I'm like, I don't know if they're niche or not. Like I don't
AVN
know.
Awards, XBiz Awards, you know. All
but like
the,
for what like, is there a category or?
I mean, there's many categories.
Okay.
The big one is Male Performer of the Year.
Okay.
I won that twice.
Awesome.
At AVN and XBiz. I've won awards at all. This sounds weird. I don't let's.
He's humble. He's humble. He doesn't like to talk about
I've won
stuff.
A lot of awards from every major adult industry thing. You know, man behind the camera too, because I was an editor.
Oh, nice.
I became the editor for my wife's company, the graphic designer, like the art director, basically. Wow. I won best soundtrack one year because I made an original score for one of the movies. That's what I'm real proud of.
For porn?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I need
it was
to
a full feature with a script, a dramatic movie, and I scored it. And
that's awesome.
I won best soundtrack.
Yeah. I need to pay more attention.
More than the sex awards. That's the one I'm like so proud of.
My problem is like like I go to porn when I'm horny and I have like a 10-minute window versus
valid.
Versus I also think that there's like beauty in the longer format unfolding of a film, but I just don't even think I know where to like go to watch.
I mean, it's on the hub.
Okay.
I mean, maybe not
full
the entire
length cinematic. Oh, okay.
But you can find like good chunks of those movies, especially from the major companies. You know, they exist. I mean, they would probably say, go to our site.
Pay us $10 or whatever. Yeah. Like, rip it off.
It's out there.
Okay. What was
a
it
lot
called?
of the times,
the one that you won the score for, what's it called?
Insomniac.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It was cool. And I was also one of the stars.
Yeah. Was it about somebody with insomnia?
I'm in it. It was about a girl in gritty Los Angeles who can't sleep. And she ends up going to these very seedy after hours BDSM clubs to solve her insomnia. And,
okay.
You know,
I like
things
it.
happen.
I'm going to check it out. Yeah.
It was a good one. It was a real good one.
Okay. So you were in LA for a while doing all of this, and you've been doing music throughout your whole journey, right?
Oh yeah. I started playing in bands when I was like 15 and you know, I've done a lot of stuff in that world.
Sure.
And when Adult came along, I never stopped doing it. And that's also why I started doing the soundtracks for the movies, because I'm like, this is a way I can still
and
get
merge
out
both worlds.
Yeah. And it was fun. I really enjoyed it. You know, you don't get paid extra for doing them, but it was a labor of love.
Passion project.
And because it was like the wife's company, it's like, well, let's, you know, I'll put my all into this and we'll make it awesome. And so that was a really fun way to continue to have my finger on music. And then when I moved to New York, I met up with a guy Kenneth, who lives in the Bronx, and we started a band. So I have a band now called Soft Faith. It's kind of like 80s synth Depeche Mode,
fun.
you know, kind of stuff. And then since moving to New York, like all middle-aged men do, I started DJing.
Oh, okay.
So I, you know, from a couple of times a month, I'll spin at clubs and stuff around here. So I still do enough of a little of everything where it's balanced and fun.
Yes. I can't imagine having a 9 to 5. I can't imagine doing the same thing every day. Like, I'm very multifaceted too. And I'm like, I like to switch gears like 2 to 3 times in a day, like completely like career pivot. It's fun. Keeps it juicy.
I think I don't know about you, but when I was young, my biggest goal was just always to like be free, you know?
Totally.
Freedom of time, freedom of the way you look, creative freedom, making your schedule. And so in that sort of sense, I'm like, we did it.
Yeah, you did it.
Go.
No, for sure.
Us.
Yes. I mean, I've never had a 9 to 5 really. Like I went straight into having my own business and entrepreneurship, and it's just, I've always wanted to, be free. I've always wanted to have a lot of money. I'm still working on that part.
Me too. I do okay, but we could always do better.
Well, it's also like really hard to not spend a lot of money in this city. Like, I don't know how people really save and accumulate wealth here, but you
live check to check, even if it's a kind of a bigger one.
Truly. It's, have you experienced any, like, I don't know, burnout in your journey with being a creator and in the studios?
100%.
Yeah.
There was, when I lived in LA, towards the last few years, as things were really, really happening, I would on average work about 5 to 6 days a week for filming porn. So like almost every day, and that was for about 3 years straight.
Whoa, yeah, that'll do it.
And to be very brutally honest, it was unhealthy. It was because there was no balance. It wasn't like the sex part was unhealthy. It was just you're not supposed to do that over and over again like a machine without having some consequence.
Yes.
Or maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe some people can, but I found myself really burnt out. And
were there other coping mechanisms involved?
I mean, it just it was kind of a double weird thing because I became pretty depressed, but I couldn't really show it or also,
or you couldn't like sit in it. You had to just like
because I'm so
work.
busy. I'm like, all right, I'll just deal with this later. The calendar's full, and
you have to like look relatively happy on screen,
right? So being an actor, hey, But part of it was I grew up pretty meager means, not rich or anything, and so I had never made money like that before. I had also never had that level of validation, and so. Those are attractive things.
Well, it's really hard to say no to money. It's very hard.
I was like, I always thought like, there's no way this could happen another month like this. This like,
right,
it's
right.
me.
Like when you have your best, when you have your best month, it's like
I always thought that I wouldn't get the booking. Like at some point, like they're gonna find someone cooler. Move on. I know how this works.
Yeah.
Also, I'm like, I didn't start porn until I was 31, so I'm older, and I just never thought it would extend this long.
Well, I think childhood scarcity has a role in that too. Like I grew up, I wouldn't say poor, but there was definitely scarcity and it was talked about frequently. And that's like always a factor in my mind when I'm declining work or gigs or like whatever it is. It's really deeply ingrained.
Yeah. So between all those things, I got, it wasn't good for my mental health, as they say. And so moving to New York was really nice because it allowed me to put a little bit of physical and figurative distance. It allowed me to pursue the other things that I love. And now when I fly back to LA or Vegas, I love it. It's like so much fun.
It's much more intentional when you're choosing to do.
I know what we're there to do, and we're going to do a good job. I'm going to see most of the time my friends. We're going to hang out. We're going to have some good sex. We're going to have a laugh. And it'll be
with your friends.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I know
adult industry.
One, I know the crews. I know the directors. I know the lighting. I know the makeup artists.
Right.
It's all a big reunion. It's all hugs
That's
when we link up again. And most of the time, I know the girls, already because chances are we filmed before. And I have developed some very, real life friendships with a lot of my coworkers. So it's always just, this is like this. These are the days where it doesn't feel like work.
Yes.
And so. Moving to New York allowed me to sort of refine my love for doing it again. Because the first year I moved here, I kind of just took a break. I was like, I need to reset. I need to just find some balance again. And
you'd started OnlyFans by that point? When
I had the OnlyFans, and it was fine.
I mean, it was some income.
Yeah, so obviously I wasn't not working. I just took a break from the studios. And and then it was. I'm very fortunate. It was a blessing that my OnlyFans grew. And then I was like, whoa, I think I don't have to be a slave
right,
so to speak, to the studios, and I can just do it because I like it and it's fun, and the money's great, but like we don't have to stress about filling up the calendar. Yeah. And so I'm just so thankful for the things I have these days.
Definitely. And you said do you know about how much of your audience is women on OnlyFans? Or
I would say 90% of my audience is women.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool.
It is pretty
there's
cool.
There's a lot more ladies out there, I think, consuming content than people realize.
And I think too, it's becoming so much more normalized now to stereotypically men have had an easier time just paying money for sex, strip clubs, things.
Right.
And women have been less.
Yes.
That's not really been their thing,
Right. Well, I think there's also not a lot of options. Like I've talked about it before, where it's like I've looked up like male escorts, and there's like 2 in New York City. I don't think
a few more than 2.
Okay. Well, I think that more. I think if women knew about things, or there was a website for women to go to, whether it was for content or seeing a sex worker, I think there'd be more interested. Women than we realize.
Well, I think we're seeing that. I mean, I'm seeing that in real time. And it's showing that the hunger was there. Mm-hmm, it's just, we had to give an avenue to do it and also make it like not shameful and make it just cool. And this is fun. And this can be like, if dude number 1 can go make it rain at the club, why can't you? Why can't you?
Yeah. What are some of the things you've like learned about women like interacting with your fans on OnlyFans, or like, I don't know, unexpected things you've learned about female desire?
So much.
Tell us.
I mean, because I've learned from the fans for sure, but I've also over the years just learned from my coworkers too. Yeah. Like I've been around, I've had sex with so many women and more than just that, had conversations and, all that. I would say the biggest, in my experience, the biggest thing that might be a surprise to some is that women's fantasies, and again, this is most of my experience, I can't speak for everybody, are way darker, way weirder, way more like, what the fuck?
Oh my gosh. I love that.
Than men, for the most part. Yeah. Because, I was also married to a porn star, so I know what her message is. We would show each other, like, yo, look at this one I got. Look at this one.
The fantasy comparison.
Stereotypically men are like, I just want to see your boobs, or who the fuck,
Sometimes they're a little simple, like just need to see some tits.
It's like related really closely to visuals
and like specific body parts and doing things to body parts.
And I'm not talking about like the kink community these are like the normies, like kink is a whole nother crowd and a whole nother conversation. But I will get fantasies like, I just really want you to knock me out with chloroform, put me in the trunk of your car, drive me to a field, tie me to a tree, leave me there for a night, and then come back the second night and have your way with me. Maybe you untie me, maybe you don't. I don't care. Kill me, and I'm just like, wow, how do I make a solo jerk off video of that?
Oof. And this is like actually a request for some type of custom audio
a lot,
like storytelling.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of times fans will order fantasies basically. Okay. And, it'll, for the most part, I try to oblige. Yes. Obviously I have my boundaries too and limits. Of course. But I have, there's some wild stuff in some of those ladies. In some of those sexy brains.
Yeah. Submit your darkest fantasy.
But it makes sense because the most popular like
category
books now, erotic fiction. Mm-hmm. Have you read some of those?
No, I haven't. I can't get into it.
They're wild. It's like aliens, consenting to, it's wild. Yeah. It's like, vampires, crazy blood play, like, violent, rough, everything.
I'm a nonfiction girly, and so I feel like for the research purposes of my podcast, I need to read some of that stuff, but I struggle to get into it.
Book talk girls. So,
all right.
I love my book talk girlies, and I see where they're getting all these ideas. And guess what? Those books are written by women. Right. So it's all coming, it's all full circle.
So number 1, our fantasies are darker than anticipated. What are some more things you've learned?
A lot of times, and now I'll flip it on the other end.
Yeah.
Another thing though that I get a lot of requests for is like, can you send me an audio where you're tucking me in at night and like just stroking my hair and like telling me like everything's okay.
It's like some daddy dom nurturing.
A lot of like nurturing. It's almost like during the hour one, you want to get tied up and like thrown through the wall and hit, but then you want me to like kiss you on the forehead.
Are you sending 2-hour audios? You're just saying,
if you pay, yeah. No, most of them are like 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay,
that seems to be the.
But you're just saying there could be this like initial like intensity, but it's like aftercare.
Or sometimes the same fan will order depending on how they're feeling. Like, oh, this week I want you to just give me gentle kisses and tuck me in, and then next week it's drive me to the farm and tie me to the tree.
I mean, it shows that it ebbs and flows too. I mean, for me, it's like very much where I'm at in like my cycle, depending on what arouses me and like what I've got going on. And I also experience things where I think that, men talk about this a little bit with watching porn or post-nut clarity of like, I'll be watching some intense porn and then I come and then afterwards I'm like, oop, oop, okay, exit out of that. You know what I mean? It's
come down.
It's intense.
Well, I think what's so fun and interesting and cool about humans' fantasies is, as we're clearly stating, it isn't a one thing. It isn't a woman thing. It isn't a man thing. It's a however you are feeling on that day, on that moment, what is turning you on. I mean, there's plenty of times where my fantasy is the under the covers, lazy Netflix, boring ass vanilla sex, because I have so much of the other kind.
I've heard this from performers.
And I enjoy it too, but like variety is great.
Yes.
And so I think maybe the takeaway is any fantasy within a certain realm, is your fantasy, and that makes it cool, and that makes it for you. So boom.
Well, I also think there's such a big difference between like we can really think we want the fantasy in real life, but then that's not always the same either. Like it really is. There's a differentiation there.
We as humans like to like dance all the way up to the line, you know, and that's like the term taboo and things.
Yeah,
it's because literally our like good human, good heart brain knows, oh, that's fucked up. Like I would never do that in real life, but but your brain goes to wherever your brain goes and you start thinking about things. And now all of a sudden you're like, why am I kind of turned on by this? And I think as long as fantasy remains fantasy, again, within a certain realm and reason, cool. Like that's what it's there for.
Yes.
You're supposed to have that so you don't go and do, how many like stepmom, stepbro.
Everything is
like,
step.
It's because the whole concept of that actually happening is fucked up.
Right. It's still like the most common, category. Like how close to the line can we get?
I have played so many stepsons.
Oh, stepsons.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm old enough. I'm 43, but I think because of the tattoos and like I'm not bald.
You're like the rebellious stepson.
The studios never would cast me as stepdad. It was always older stepbrother, bad boy, or stepson for like my
milfy,
milfy mom. Yeah, or like this. I would be a student. Like I'm 35 years old, playing like a college student, and I'm gonna bang my professor or whatever. But it's the whole reason it exists. Also, porn and the type of these silly scenarios. Porn doesn't choose to make those. Porn is a reflection of what everyone is typing in. So everything you see, if you like it or hate it, it's a reflection of society. Because what they do is they look at the most searched terms and the most searched scenarios. And then they go, that'll make money. We're making that. You think some of these directors are artistically very excited to make the third Stuck in the Dryer movie? Like, no. And even us, when we go to set, we're like, here we go again, guys.
Here we go again.
Okay, step bro.
Right,
okay.
sis.
Yeah. And we're all like just laughing about how ridiculous it is. But it's because
it's a great point.
You all want it.
Right. No, I think that's a really important point. Like if you're going to Pornhub and being frustrated that you're saying all this stuff, it's just a reflection of our collective psyche.
And most of the time when you're masturbating, you're alone. So there's you don't have to make a decision based on someone else watching you and so we can all performatively, go on safe for work platforms
what we're into.
And say this and that, but
yeah.
the data don't lie, the numbers don't lie, and some of you all are lying.
I mean, top searches, I think, are step stuff. Lots of, I think, trans content is one of the highest searched.
Is exploding in popularity.
And I think that really speaks to people's curiosity. And also, like, stereotypically cis straight men's curiosity about exploring
trans girls.
with...
I've made movies with trans girls. Trans girls are hot.
Yeah, no, for sure. But
we love our dolls.
I think the same people that are consuming that content wouldn't say that to their buddy. You know what I mean?
Or
to
maybe
their
if they were out at a bar,
right,
and they knew they wouldn't
they might not flirt with her,
but in the privacy of their own home, when
definitely.
no one's around. And it
shows.
It shows.
There's definitely a big difference. I've been really wanting to have an MMF, and I'm trying to coordinate it, and I enjoy the lead up to it almost happening. And then I kind of bail out because
I know a few I can put you in touch with.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, then there's just the moment of like, the people that I'm talking to, I would feel safe because I've played with them both individually. But then there's the reality of having two dudes in my home. And I'm like, as an overthinker, I'm like, once everyone comes, what do we talk about? Like, it's like
what's
this.
What's the pillow talk like?
Yes. Like, I don't know. There's like an overthinking of this thing, but like, it's very much like what I want. So it's just, I don't know. There's like a separation there.
I mean, it's a beautiful thing to get to explore fantasies, and
right. Well, and even realize like maybe I actually don't really want this. I mean, I do want it to happen, but maybe, I don't know. Yeah, maybe the weather needs to be different.
There's also a difference, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I want to masturbate and watch this, but I don't.
Right.
I don't, if it was presented to me in real life, no, like I just want to watch it. You know what I mean? Like that's where it can
definitely
stay,
yeah.
I know lots of girls who love watching gangbangs.
That's also like a top searched thing by women. Women.
Oh, completely.
The gangbang fantasy is like number one. Yeah.
Like completely.
Yes. But the reality.
But, a lot of women though, who, if they're not in porn, would go, well, I don't think I could do it though, or that would be too much. But I want to watch it, And so there can be two different things simultaneously existing at the same time.
Right. Yeah. As the logistics person, I'm like, how do you? I mean, I know people that have made gangbangs happen that are not in porn.
The gangbangs logistically also
that's what I'm saying.
In real life, like
that's what I'm saying.
And
the vetting and the STI testing.
I applaud anyone who gets off-camera gangbang.
Yes, an organic
wow,
gangbang.
How'd you do that one? And also the guys got to get along and have a vibe, or at the very least not be phobic or be weird. Many guys just can't be around other guys.
God forbid they see a dick.
You got to get over that hurdle first, and then get. I consider a gangbang is 5 guys minimum.
Okay.
Four.
Right.
Four.
Good definition.
The porno definition is 5 or
Interesting.
more. Yeah.
Did you have to explore any of that with the content you've done with Owen? What's the Lush?
Owen Gray?
Yes.
Yeah,
What's the
Deep Lush?
Yes, Deep Lush. Was that your first foray into
No. I had done many of those movies before, but
mainstream.
What makes I met Owen doing gangbangs.
Okay.
In San Francisco, in the BDSM dungeons for Kink, the company called Kink.
Kink.com.
Yeah. Because he's from the Bay Area.
Okay.
And there was a while I was very much getting hired to do that kind of stuff a lot. I think the look worked,
Sure.
being a dom or whatever. And after the gangbang, you're all getting dressed and
what's up, bud?
Start talking and hey man, and we just we really became really good friends. He's like one of my best friends. I love him. And so when he started Deep Lush, he's just like, hey man, I want to book you for some stuff. And cool, of course, love it. And it kind of has become this thing that's bigger than what we didn't set out to do anything special or particular. Right. It was just, he's like, this site's going to be just about trying to worship girls and make them come and whatever sex that they want to have.
That's why it's doing so well, though.
No scripts, no
That's
corny
why it's
shit.
Doing well.
And part of our day is when our co-star arrives, because it's also really cute. When I fly out to LA to film with him, it's mostly in LA.
Okay.
we stay together. So like at the same, Airbnb, and we
wholesome.
Like, we're like dating basically that week. We're like, in the morning he's like making coffee, I'm like doing the dishes. We do our stretches, in our underwear
this
together.
This is what the girls want to hear that you're doing.
That's before they come over to arrive for set. We're cleaning up the set. We're doing domestic things, and we're doing like our stretches and stuff.
Cute.
And then we have like a talk, and it's not just boundaries, like what's a no, but it's what's a yes. Like what do you want today? Like we're here for you. We're here to service you. We're here to do literally whatever the fuck you want. And it ranges. And so that's also why there's a lot of like really rough sex on that site, but there's also a lot that's not at all, because it was whatever she wanted, and like, we're just here to deliver,
For sure.
And not just like that, but we're happy to deliver. We're honored to deliver. And so for us, it's just a way to also show our like worship, of a woman by doing what she wants.
As a dom, as a mommy dom over here, I'm like, that sounds great. Love a good boy.
It's almost like, let's give you a break today. Just tell us what you want. We'll do it. Go. You don't got to drive. We'll take care of it,
Have you ever encountered co-stars that maybe aren't clear on like what they really like and don't like? Or I feel like being in the industry, you get really clear on that.
And also just the current state of where we're at in society. I think, women have a loud, powerful voice, not afraid to use it anymore. And I think that's how it should be. So it's not often that something's unclear or there's a sort of a misunderstanding, because we take our time. We have a full conversation beforehand. Yeah. We go over, a lot of details, especially if it's someone who's new to us, sometimes if it's like someone we've all known for like 8 years, it's just like, hey buddy, let's party, But even then we still will do the talk, but it's almost like a formality at that point. Because you never know how someone's feeling on any particular day. Consent and boundaries can change day to day.
Yes,
so
definitely.
It's more of just a check-in, like, is this the usual? Anything new? What's the update?
Yeah, and like what turns you on today? What's on your mind?
And so, that's really it for those scenes. Our goal is to just give you, whoever's there, the absolute best experience possible in whatever way that is for them.
Right.
And that's awesome. Doing so, we have a great fucking time.
Yes, it seems like it. That's how I first came across your content. And I think what was so groundbreaking for me is I was at a point in my journey where I was feeling a lot of shame around only being able to come with toys, specifically the magic wand, which you use, often.
It's our other co-star.
It's the best of the best.
If anything, that's the star we're supporting.
Yeah, there you go. But I think for me, it was just so refreshing because like so much of mainstream porn is emphasized on the dick and the man and his orgasm. Like his orgasm is like it's the shot, it's the money shot. Yes. And I could tell, like, as just an intuitive, observant person, that like the woman wasn't actually coming; she was kind of faking it, or it was just refreshing to come across that, and I felt validated in my own experience of how I experience pleasure, which is a toy and sex.
Right.
But like, if I'm going to come, it's going to be with literally a magic wand.
Right.
And to see that, I was just like, oh, they get it. Like, and I also was like, this is going to do fucking well because women are going to feel seen.
And there was no big calculated move. It was literally like, this is not about us. This is about you, and you like this. So, and also we're not insecure little children, like the wand is cool, like whatever, like you don't want to be a part of this.
Right. Yeah.
I love, seeing a woman come with everything happening at the same time. Oh, the wand, his, mine, it's ethereal. You're transcendent, like that's where you see God.
Do you get haters from men? Do men have a negative, like?
No, if they do, they don't tell me, I think.
Well, not, to the actual content, but like on, like, I don't know if it's on Instagram or like, do they have any, I don't know. I feel like there's gotta be haters somewhere.
I think the boys are coming around. They're learning. Because I actually get a lot of messages, and I feel very cool about this. Yeah. Of guys saying, hey, like, you helped me. Like I learned a little bit from you. And that was never my intent. It wasn't, I'm not, trying to be on some pedestal like that at all. But they'll be like, oh, my girlfriend loves how I fuck her now. Or girls will write me and say, my boyfriend is better now because we watch your
content,
stuff. And I think that's so cool. That's so special.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that like I'm very pro porn. I watch porn, but I think that when it usually goes a certain way and the male orgasm is the climax and it's mostly focused on that, I think we all just get really used to that. And so for men to see content where it's like, oh, it's the script is flipping, we're focused on her pleasure and her orgasm, ensuring that happens.
And I think, look, the male orgasm has its place at the end because once it's done, like it's,
that's true.
We're done.
But let's make her come first then. I mean, even in my own sex life, I encounter this thing where I explain how I come. I'm like, this, we need a toy, and I would like for it to happen before you come because, once that happens, we're both kind of just chilling.
That's the order it should be. That is the correct order.
But like, you'd be shocked at how many guys at the beginning of an interaction think that that's going to happen, like that they're going to be really focused on making me come, and then they don't. And they kind of like,
they give
guys
up?
Guys can get really distracted by their own horniness.
Interesting. I don't know. I love to get really focused and put in some work. That's fun for me.
Yeah, it's rough out there.
Well, I think, if anything, the few negative comments like about the wand I get are from women saying like, almost like an air of I'm better than the rest of you. Like, I don't need that because my man takes care of me. And I'm, it's cool, great.
Right.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
But really like those, and it's so rare, it's not often, but if I do get some kind of like hatery kind of thing, it's usually from women and they're bragging about how their man
I don't
takes
need
care
a
of
toy.
them. Yeah. So it's kind of a flex. Like, it's cool. Like, go get yours, girl.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Where are you now in your content journey and professional life? Like, what do you want to focus on now and next?
I love that I have a nice balance now. I still shoot for the studios. I do my OnlyFans. I do music. I do the band. It's just, this is the life I wanted, So at these days, I'm just thankful, and I know it could end. So I want to just kind of see where it goes here,
Yeah. What does like family life look like with like parents or family knowing what you're into? Like, it's kind of different for everyone.
That's a whole another episode.
Okay.
But I'll sum it up. So my dad was a pastor, a preacher, Christian, son of a preacher boy, right here. So
we love the spectrum. We love the pipeline.
Yeah. So I grew up in church, heavy, 6 nights a week, youth group, all the things.
Jesus.
When your dad's part of the staff, you roll.
Yeah.
So I was a very sheltered, conservative household. I didn't like get drunk till I was 21.
Wow.
I didn't like, by the time I was 21, I'd only had sex with like 2 girls and they were like girlfriends, I wasn't.
Were you Christian up until like 20s or?
No, once I developed a brain. Once I was like 13 and just saw the hypocrisy, saw just how this was just ridiculous. I was like, no, we're done with this. But I got good grades. I didn't do drugs. I didn't party. I was in like a little band. I just liked to play music.
Sure.
So I was a very good kid, so to speak. And so when all of this part of my life happened, unfortunately, my dad kind of disowned my ass. And and I kind of knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I know him, and I know just how.
You didn't try to not let him find out. Like,
here's the thing: is
once you're Googleable,
he disowned me before I was even a porn star. He found out who my girlfriend was. That's what it was. Somebody snitched. Somebody in church, probably.
Oh God.
And how would they know?
Yeah.
So there was about a year where I was bringing her around, and. You don't lie, but you don't really tell the truth. It's like, we work in entertainment. She works in entertainment. She's an influencer, whatever. And everything was fine, And then, I don't know, somebody tattled on me, and then I got the call, and then that was it. And,
a call, wow.
Yeah. So unfortunately, me and Dad don't really have a relationship. Sure. My mother, also very, Christian, very conservative. For many years, we did not either. But in the last few years, we've started one again. So that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's important to hear the range of experiences. I feel like I surprisingly have folks on that are, content creators, sex workers, and they actually seem to have established like quite I would say, productive, healthy relationships with their parents.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important.
And I love that. I think that's so cool.
I think that's great and
that's
almost
how it should
surprising.
be.
But I think it's important to share the range of experiences.
Well, if you have super religious parents of almost any religion, I feel like it's a pretty common story, I know some other like preachers' kids in porn, and I know them, and we're all like, I don't know.
I swear it would like come up in some, like a lot of my earlier and first episodes. It was all like grew up Catholic and then now very kinky. It's like the spectrum from Catholicism to kink.
Look at the artwork. Look at the Gothic architecture.
Yes, it's fucking
Catholicism
kinky.
is BDSM.
Yes, I just went to an exhibit. I really like kink and sex history, and I just went to an exhibit about like sex during the Middle Ages, and like it was a small exhibit, but more of it than I anticipated was actually about like almost how people eroticized Jesus, and I was like, whoa, like this is just there is this underlying erotic and not necessarily sexual, but like in love with, obsessed with. I mean, obviously people are obsessed with Jesus, but I mean like the artwork that I was seeing was a little more erotic and obsession.
That's great. Okay.
Yeah, it was just really interesting. And I mean, it's like, I think the imagery of a lot of religions is extreme in a certain way. So it's interesting that
Catholics got sexy Jesus.
I guess.
We didn't have sexy Jesus.
This was like Middle Ages Jesus, I guess more Christian-y.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so old school Christians had sexy Jesus.
Sexy
Jesus. Okay, I gotta go.
I feel like people just can't not eroticize everything. You know what I mean?
And at some point, I feel like Jesus hits on a lot of daddy thing. Like there's a lot of like overlap with some kink stuff and just his
definitely
savior figure.
Yep.
All powerful, but you're safe in my arms. All that stuff. Like that's all BDSM coded, all of it.
Well, no, I mean truly, like a lot of my kinkster and like dom friends, had like an interesting Christian upbringing, and like you can't have it, but you want to. I mean, it just creates all sorts of stuff. It
creates taboos, which drive us to fantasy. Which here we go.
I mean, the less we can have something, the more we want it. I was talking with my last guest about like alcohol, but also access to queerness, and just like depending on how and where you grew up, you kind of want things more. I mean, it's very interesting.
Yeah. Like I guess on any level, repression breeds exploration in interesting ways.
Yes, definitely. I grew up without any religion, which was interesting. Both my parents had it, but then I was kind of, I feel like this experiment of like, where is she going to end up, without any of this?
Same religion? Did they
No, they didn't have, no, I mean, like my mom grew up like Southern Baptist, I think, in like Texas. But then my dad, it wasn't as serious. They were kind of hippies. They wanted me to just have my own exploration and journey. And I mean, I still ended up a sex podcaster and kinkster. So, who knows?
And they're cool, like.
I mean, it's been a journey. Okay. It's been a journey of like kind of the don't ask, don't tell. Like, oh, she does this thing. It's a sex positive podcast, and then stumbling across clips, and it's painful. I mean, it has been like a painful journey to like recalibrate people's perceptions, and I have some family members blocked, and I mean, I still struggle with that because like it's also really important to me to be seen as an entrepreneur and a founder. And so it's kind of like an identity label thing.
Yeah. And it is, it's tricky, but it's not impossible. You're clear proof of that. But I think with like generations like parents, it's just it's a bigger hill to climb. You have to educate them more on everything, like start from the very, very beginning. And, and it's almost like, they're still going to kind of not get it.
For me, it was kind of like, but why would you want the internet to know that about you? It's just this thing that somebody that's, 30, 40 years older than us, they're not getting, why would you want that on the internet? Why would you want to be, and it's like.
Their generation was so private based and we're the opposite now where it's like, well, let's just share everything.
Oversharing. Absolutely. Well, we're going to wrap up soon, but I actually did want to talk to you a little bit about STIs and learning out about that because we were talking about it on our prep call.
Yeah.
I just think it's like something that, you and your industry know more about than a lot of folks and a lot of men. And I'm building Testy, which is going to make STI testing easier. Did it shift in adult industries? Like it used to not be as strict, right? When was there was a shift, right?
When I entered the business, it was 14 days is your window to work on like a cleared test.
Oh, wow.
It used to be 30, I was told.
Got it.
Like just in years past.
You can work for still
basically,
now?
The protocol now is if you go and get tested, you can work for the next 13 days.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't really know who decided that. Someone decided that.
The man, the poor man.
It's just what has existed. And when I say tested, it's blood, pee, swab in the throat, swab up the butt.
Very comprehensive.
Pretty comprehensive panel.
Yep.
You get your results back, generally in 24 hours. And then there's a database.
Oh, wow.
Which is to prevent like sketchy people forging something.
But this is for adult industry
providers.
There's a database.
Anyone can go to these, there's like a few. There's cleared talent testing, CET. There's like a few. Primarily it's for like porn stars and adult creators, but anybody can go create an account because of OnlyFans, there's just,
right.
And so what it is you'll get the results, and they, it's very, show everyone your tests. Like that's what they always say.
Like when you all arrive to like do a scene, literally?
When we're doing paperwork generally.
Okay.
And everyone passes, they log in and then you look, and there's also a QR code if you're like, just want to triple make sure it's not like a screenshot
yes.
That doesn't happen hardly ever. And when it does, those people are
It sometimes
gone.
happens in like non-adult spaces though. Like I'm actually wanting to build a potential tool for Testy that both parties would upload a STI test and would kind of do like a verification and swap.
So
there are AI tools to scan if it's falsified or not, but people are doing it like in civilian world.
Look, I would love to say it never happened in porn, but there has been a few.
Sure. Yeah, you get kicked out.
And they're done.
There's literal blacklisting,
you're canceled
right?
immediately. You're done. Your career's over. So don't do that. Don't forge a test.
And now I feel like people that do content and porn, it's like you probably also have like a pretty progressive view on if like somebody tests positive too. Like get it treated. Like I feel like there's a lot of
most things are not that big of a deal.
No, most things are not a big deal. But there's a lot of like in civilian world, there's like so much like shame and freaking out and how do I disclose? And like it's kind of this catastrophe.
Look, if you are sexually active, more than just like with a 10-year monogamous partner, that's it. You guys are not cheating on each other. Nothing.
Yeah. Still get tested sometimes.
You still, doesn't hurt.
Doesn't hurt.
Literally doesn't hurt. And peace of mind is great, knowing, if you come back with something, the responsible thing to do is to immediately contact everyone, within the window that you've had sex with. Tell them.
It's probably handled quite responsibly.
And then they go get tested. And because it doesn't mean they have it. It doesn't automatically mean transmission just happens every time. I've gotten those calls in the biz a few times. Sure. And, in 12 years and over 1,000 movies, I've gotten chlamydia twice.
Okay.
Early in my career, I think because my immune system's pretty strong now because I'm just always swapping fluids. It really though, I built up a really strong
Interesting.
And so this was in like year 2 and 3. You take a few pills, cancel your work for 2 weeks, you retest, you get back in the game. It's not like a huge deal. It's like having like the flu for a week or whatever.
Yeah.
And, but you do need to contact your partners. And hopefully, everybody is just responsible.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm just like a sex nerd at this point because I've learned more about STIs than I ever thought I would. But like the top 3 STIs, like gonorrhea, chlamydia, and like trick, like make up like 85 or more % of infections. A round of antibiotics, not the end of the world. Yeah, but I think that there's such a lack of education around sexual health and STIs that when something does come up, I've been on the disclosing end of sharing something where the partner kind of had a meltdown. And it's like overwhelming because now I'm taking care of their emotional state around this thing too.
I mean, that's shame. That's stigma. That's
definitely.
Like, it's like you're going to be fine in a week.
Yes.
And there will be no permanent effects. Like it's cool. Like it's all good.
Yeah.
But people have whatever they were raised with. There's a lot of unlearning to do, and then relearning based more in a factual based world than like a religious based world.
Definitely.
And also, it's like if you're that worried about it, don't be sexually active like that. Like
it's a risk that we all run of this.
Even the the most tested, the safest of us condoms. If you have sex with someone else, there is an inherent risk. Now, the idea is to make that as small as possible, but it doesn't go to zero. If you want zero, don't have sex. Boom, there you go.
Well, I think that's the cool thing hearing about like what it's like on set too, is I feel like being on set for a scene, it's like you guys are like 10, 15 years ahead of what like civilians are doing in their dating life. When it comes to discussing boundaries and consent, what do you want? How do you come? Have you been tested recently? Like this is all like pretty general stuff that I'm versed in as well, but it's like, yeah, damn, it's really not happening out in the wild.
People just need to, because in the past, those aren't sexy conversations.
No, exactly. Or it takes you out of the moment.
But they can be if you do it in a certain way.
Definitely.
And they also lead to better sex in theory, So have a conversation. And it doesn't mean you can't be spontaneous still. It doesn't mean you can't.
Right.
Not everything has to be clinical, but especially with a new encounter, a new person, a first time.
Wouldn't you rather know? Wouldn't you rather know what?
You don't know this person.
Yeah.
You should try to get the summary,
Yes. Everyone's so different too.
Yeah.
Like it varies so much. I see this kind of narrative online that I've seen guys comment on my stuff before of like guys like I will tell men to like start more conversations with women out in the wild, like hit on women more, like let's just make this more social out in the world because everyone's so like comfortable behind their phones. And there's this huge fear where men go, well, ever since Me Too, I have this fear of making a woman uncomfortable or like going too far. But I think so much of that is like communication. Like you're not going to do something non-consensual if you can communicate well and talk about these things.
Look, part of it's valid because that, Me Too does exist. And
stirred shit up.
There is that's a lane now, that's an avenue, that's a megaphone. And, but sometimes it's if the shoe fits kind of a thing. We're like, well, what are you worried about, friend?
Right.
And then also there's a difference to me, like the phrase like hitting on a woman is kind of like has implications that are kind of like old school.
Or it has almost kind of creepy implications,
like
hitting on a girl.
So I think if I were to sort of try to explain to a man, I'd be like, look, you don't want to go hit on a woman. But if you want to engage with her, you first of all, you can't hit on her. You can't drop some dumbass line.
Yeah.
You have to be authentic and be like, find something. Like there's a reason you want to go over there, but you can't go over there and just stare at her tits. Like it's just like not going to work.
We can sense the creepy vibes.
Yeah,
we can
and
sense
like,
the hitting on you vibes.
So it's almost like your initial contact should be more platonic in nature.
I like this.
Because now you are showing an interest in a person.
Right.
Not
rather
a body
than
part or your ass. And that shit's there. We know it's there.
Right.
Like it's cool.
They're attracted to you.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I would just advise like be an authentic person who has an authentic interest that's not about fucking in the very first,
Ask her how her day's going.
Or it's honestly, and it's not that hard. If like she's wearing a shirt of a band you love, boom.
Right.
Oh, what's your fit? My album is blah, blah, blah. Like you can like just give a shit and pay attention for like 2 seconds and you'll find something.
Yes. I love that. I think that is fantastic advice.
And if it goes, and then if you continue to engage, things can organically go.
But also pay attention to body language. Like I think like sometimes men aren't in touch with body language enough to be like, oh, she's being nice because she's conditioned to like continue the conversation and doesn't know how to tell you to fuck off.
You should. But
like pick up on cues because like it's either fuck yes or fuck no usually.
There's another good way to gauge things is don't approach every situation like sex is the goal. Maybe you just want to literally talk to an interesting person.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And then you dip, get the fuck out. Like that could be sexy, like if she's like,
For
whoa,
sure.
like this dude didn't.
Maybe your paths will cross again someday.
You know what I mean? Like what's meant to be will be. And there are cues that like a lot of times can be helpful, But I think just practicing the art of basic conversation is a good place to start.
Something we're losing a little bit, I think.
Yeah, well,
I mean, we're very comfortable. Like I'll take the subway and everyone's on their phone, and like I always have subway crushes. Like it's my thing. Like I just find everyone
Mysterious
so gorgeous
stranger,
in New York. Yeah, I have an anonymity thing, but it's it's just like I'll just put my phone away sometimes just to like be present with other people because I have years of this like staring at my phone thing. And it's it's the little stuff that counts. I have little business cards. I haven't given them out to anyone yet, but I do have a business card.
You've got them on you just in case.
Look, I'm a romantic, but yeah. Well,
love it.
I really appreciate this conversation.
Yeah, this was fun. Thanks for having me.
Yes,
appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple, and or YouTube, as well as on Instagram at Seggs Talk Radio. That's Seggs, Seggs. And before you go, head over to testy.co to join the waitlist for our 2026 launch. We are reinventing same-day walk-in STI testing nationwide.